Have you ever been afraid of being alone? I was. For most of my life, I filled every moment with people, plans, and noise, anything to avoid the silence. But then, one year, everything changed. Suddenly, I found myself with more time alone than I'd ever had before. At first, it felt like a punishment. But what happened next surprised me, and it might surprise you too. If you've ever wondered how to find peace and even joy in your own company, this story is for you. It all started when my life took an unexpected turn. My children moved out, my closest friends relocated for work or family, and I retired from my job of 30 years. The house, once filled with laughter and chaos, became quiet. Too quiet. At first, I tried to ignore the emptiness. I kept the TV on for background noise, scrolled endlessly through my phone, and made excuses to go out, even if it was just to the grocery store. But no matter what I did, the silence always crept back in. I remember one evening, sitting in my living room, realizing I hadn't spoken to anyone all day. The loneliness felt heavy, almost physical. I started to wonder if this was just how life would be from now on. I felt lost, invisible, and honestly, a little scared. I tried to fill the void with distractions, watching TV, cleaning the house, even rearranging the furniture. But nothing seemed to shake the feeling that something was missing. I missed the sound of voices, the comfort of a hug, the simple joy of sharing a meal with someone else. I realized I had spent so much of my life taking care of others, being busy, and rarely stopping to ask myself what I needed. Now, with all this time and space, I didn't know what to do. The shock of solitude was real, and it forced me to face feelings I'd been avoiding for years. I knew I had to do something. But what? I'd always defined myself by my relationships: parent, spouse, friend, co-worker. Who was I without all those roles? One night, I decided to stop running from the silence. I turned off the TV, put down my phone, and just sat with my thoughts. It was uncomfortable at first. My mind raced with worries and regrets. I thought about mistakes I'd made, things I wished I'd done differently, and all the what-ifs that come with getting older. But as I sat there, I started to notice things I'd never paid attention to before. The sound of the wind outside, the way the light changed in the room, the rhythm of my own breathing. I realized I'd been so busy filling my life with noise that I'd forgotten how to just be. That was the first step, learning to sit with myself, even when it felt awkward. I started doing this every evening, just for a few minutes. Some nights were harder than others, but slowly I began to feel a little more comfortable in my own skin. I started journaling, writing down my thoughts and feelings. It helped me process what I was going through and gave me a sense of release. I realized that facing my fears, instead of running from them, was the only way to move forward. I decided to treat my alone time as an experiment. What if, instead of dreading it, I tried to enjoy it? I made a list of things I'd always wanted to do but never had time for. Some were simple: reading a novel, learning to cook a new dish, taking long walks in the park. Others were bigger: trying yoga, starting a journal, even painting. At first, I felt silly. I burned my first attempt at homemade bread. My yoga poses looked nothing like the ones in the video. But I kept going. I laughed at my mistakes and celebrated my small victories. I started to notice something. The more I did things just for myself, the more I enjoyed them. I wasn't performing for anyone else. I could be as silly, creative, or quiet as I wanted. I also started to explore my neighborhood in a new way. I'd take long walks, noticing flowers I'd never seen before, or sitting on a bench just to watch the world go by. I brought a camera with me and started taking photos of things that caught my eye: a bird on a branch, sunlight through the leaves, a child's chalk drawing on the sidewalk. Each little experiment was a step toward discovering what made me happy, just for me. As the weeks went by, I found myself looking forward to my solo adventures. I discovered a love for photography, capturing little moments of beauty on my daily walks. I started writing short stories, something I hadn't done since I was a teenager. I even took myself out to lunch at a nice restaurant. At first, it felt strange. But soon I realized how freeing it was to enjoy a meal at my own pace, savoring every bite. I learned to listen to my own needs and desires. If I wanted to spend a whole afternoon reading, I did. If I felt like dancing in the kitchen, I turned up the music and danced. I realized that my own company could be just as fulfilling as anyone else's. I also started to take better care of myself. I cooked healthy meals, tried new recipes, and made time for exercise. I treated myself to small pleasures, a new book, a walk in the park, a cup of tea on the porch. I realized that I was worthy of kindness and care, even if it was just from myself. The more I explored, the more I discovered about who I was and what I enjoyed. I wasn't just passing the time, I was building a life that felt meaningful and true to me. Of course, it wasn't always easy. There were days when the loneliness crept back in, when I missed the sound of another voice or the comfort of a hug. There were moments when I doubted myself, wondering if I was just hiding from the world. Sometimes I'd see families together in the park or friends laughing at a cafe, and I'd feel a pang of sadness. I wondered if I was missing out, or if I'd ever feel truly connected again. But each time, I reminded myself how far I'd come. I reached out to friends when I needed to, but I also learned not to fear the quiet. I discovered that being alone didn't mean being lonely. It meant being present with myself. I also learned to be gentle with myself. Some days were harder than others, and that was okay. I allowed myself to feel whatever came up, knowing that every emotion was part of the journey. I realized that it was okay to miss people, to feel sad sometimes, and to want connection. But I also knew that I could find comfort and joy in my own company, and that was a powerful thing. By the end of that year, I was a different person. I felt stronger, more confident, and more at peace than I ever had before. I no longer needed constant noise or company to feel whole. I had learned to enjoy my own company, to find joy in the simple things, and to trust myself. I realized that solitude could be a gift, a chance to rediscover who I am, to nurture my passions, and to build a life that feels true to me. And the best part? When I did spend time with others, I brought a new sense of calm and happiness to those relationships. I was no longer looking for someone else to fill the emptiness. I was sharing the fullness I'd found within myself. I found that I could be alone without being lonely, and that my own company was not just enough, it was wonderful. If you're watching this and struggling with being alone, I want you to know, it's okay to feel scared or uncertain. But you might be surprised by what you discover when you give yourself the chance to truly know yourself. Try something new, just for you. Sit with the silence. Explore your interests. Be gentle with yourself on the hard days. And remember, you are enough, just as you are. If you've learned to enjoy your own company, or if you're just starting that journey, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Let's support each other and remind ourselves that we're never truly alone. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little encouragement today. Take care and enjoy your own wonderful company.